My name is Michael Mastro. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at the transformational Vedic astrology of Charlie Pride, country western singer who passed this December 1st, 2020 of COVID. Um, so we're going to look at how the planets are operating in his chart, and then we're going to see when they were operating, because not everything happens all at once, and then we're going to look at what we could do to remedy the chart. So if you look to the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see the first sign of Aries rising at 20 degrees. 20 degrees becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planet like Venus that's within 5 degrees has a lot of impact in his chart. So let's just see where the Multicona signs are in this chart, and then we'll be able to tell what he came here to learn about in this lifetime. So the Multicona signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and 11. So first sign of Aries, ruled by Mars in that first house, learning about creating an identity for himself, being worthy of existing on the planet. Then the fourth sign of Cancer, ruled by Moon, feeling worthy of being happy and having a good family, property, um, finding happiness in this life. And then we have the fifth sign of Leo, ruled by Sun. So learning about being competitive in sports, being creative, having children. Then we have the sixth sign of Virgo in the house of health and healing and competition. Again, sports, um, and then having some health issues, dealing with those. Then we have the seventh sign of Libra, ruled by Venus in the seventh house of partnerships, learning to feel worthy of being loved and having good partnerships with your agent and the record companies and your wife. He had a very long marriage. And then learning the ninth sign of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, spiritual growth, and being a teacher in his own way through his songs, uplifting songs, spiritual songs. Then we have the 11th sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. So feeling worthy of having a good income and having friendships and connections. So let's see how these planets are operating individually. Sun is at 4 degrees. Any planet that's less than 5 degrees, so it's just slightly less, is said to be an infant state. And any planet like Jupiter that's more than 25 is said to be in old age. So infant and old age people have trouble promoting and protecting their own significations. So for him, Sun is placed in the 12th house of losses, expenses, feeling separate, not fitting in, and it's ruling this house of creativity and the intellect. So this is also the house of entertainment. So it gives him spiritual growth through entertainment, and then also having the intellect in the 12th house can create a feeling of separateness. So he did have some depression, some bipolar issues. His father had a good influence on him. He played Grand Ole Opry music when he was very young, and had a very strong influence on where he wanted to go with his life, with the singing. He actually was one of the only black country western singers to begin with, and then being part of that Grand Ole Opry, he was one of the only ones as well. Mars is at 10 degrees. Moon is at 13 degrees. It's ruling the house of happiness through family and property, and it's placed in, again, in the first house. So it says that he can be famous through entertaining the public, um, and that he can have a good, strong family relationship. Married for many, many years, had children, and has good properties. Um, and he can perform for the public. Happiness through performing through the public for entertainment, for the singing. Then we have Mars at 10 degrees. It's ruling the house of life, purpose, longevity, personality. Had a very big personality. And also, Mars is competitive, courage, competition, ambition, drive. So that's sports. So he was very keen on becoming a very famous or doing well in baseball. So, first part of his life, he was very focused on that. Um, at some point, that sports career, he decided he couldn't make the majors, so he decided to change um, his career. But he even in the end, he owned the part owner of Texas Rangers and lots of different properties. Mercury is so any Multicono sign in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th becomes malefic. So Mercury rules the 6th house, and so it becomes malefic, um, along with Rahu and Ketu. But it's not afflicting anything. So the, it's ruling the house of health, of healing, debts, fire, theft, and cheating, divorce, all those kinds of things. I think it also affected my Moon is Mercury is mind, so affected his intellect with that bipolar. Having a health effect on the Mercury, but it's in the house of income. So it says he can have income through speech, persuasive speech. So the singing fits into that real well. Um, he also had some business sense, income through Mercury is communication and business. So he owned, the Texas Rangers and a record company and a bank as well. So let's see. Jupiter's at 27 degrees. It's an old age, so it's weak. It rules the house of good fortune and spiritual teachers, and it is placed in the house of health and healing. So it says that he could have good fortune through singing, healing, or teaching through his gospel songs about spirituality. Then we have, and it is afflicted by Rahu, but Rahu is actually giving some ambition to it as well. But it can take away as well. So it gives and takes away. Venus is at 22 degrees, close to the most effective point. So having a lot of impact in this chart. So Venus, what is it? It's fine arts, performing arts, healing arts. So all of that in the career house, boosted by Rahu. So give him a great singing career. And in fact, he was inducted into the Grand Ole Opry Hall of Fame, and he actually performed. He was traveling with Elvis as one of the co-performers, so he got a lot of notoriety for that. Then Saturn's at 0 degrees. It's in the house of income and ruling that same house. So he'd give him through, he got his income through Saturn, which is hard work, discipline, also service, serving his community by singing the gospel, uplifting spiritual songs. Then Rahu and Ketu are always trying to balance something in your chart. Rahu's in the career house, Ketu's in the family house. So work, home life balance. He traveled a lot for his musical career, so wasn't able to spend as much time with the family. So he's trying to learn about that, balancing the work home life in his life. Then we have the timing of events. So he left baseball in 1961 during a Moon Rahu period. So Rahu brought a change in his career. And then we have a new career in 1963 through the singing. Moon Jupiter period. Jupiter again, teaching through song, spiritual gospel songs. And then we have 97, he had a tumor on his vocal cord. So Jupiter, Mercury is affecting the health. Mercury is the throat. So that connects that. 2000, he got into the Hall of Fame during a Jupiter period. So again, good fortune. Then in 2004, he had a blood clot in his brain. So Jupiter, Rahu. So Rahu was afflicting the first house of the brain at that point and causing inflammation there. And then he died of COVID in December December 1st, 2020. Um, and at that time, Mercury and K2 were close to the most effective point, afflicting or in the 8th house of death-like experiences. And Mercury is affecting the health. And then Mars, causing inflammation, was in the 12th house of end of life. So what could we do to strengthen this chart? So we want to transform Mercury, Rahu, and K2 by chants and charities. So he's already doing the chants through his gospel singing. So he got good longevity, died, in his 80s. And then K2 giving to spiritual organizations and Rahu helping people who cannot help themselves, and Mercury giving to children's organizations. And I think he did a lot of charity work. So he was already taking care of these in his life. Then we want to strengthen weak Jupiter, Saturn, Sun, Moon, and Venus by wearing a gavash. It's a locket containing the Devata yantras for those planets, or he could wear a diamond, a blue sapphire, a ruby, and a yellow sapphire, and a pearl. So those are the main points for Charlie Pride's chart. May he rest in peace. And if you're interested in getting a reading, you can go to www.vastucreations.com under services, and there's many types of astrology readings. You can see they're very accurate. If you would like to learn transformational Vedic astrology, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com under courses, and we have a level 1 and a level 2 certification course. Where you can learn this very practical system of remedies for your chart. Thank you for listening.